Okay, I will reconvene to the public session and roll call. All board members are present. We do have a quorum. Public comments on agenda, non-agenda items. Pursuant to board policy number 2350, public comment will be limited to 5 minutes per person. All speakers who would like to comment regarding the matter in the meeting agenda.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Open forum on non-agenda items. I do have one speaker card. And that is Mr. Perry Gillick.
Thank you. I'm representing the athletic department and the coaching staff, and just wanted to thank the board, Mr. Knudsen, and your administrative team. The past 12 months have been extremely challenging in dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. The purpose of this letter is thank you for dealing with decisions on how to navigate athletics over the past 12 months. As an athletic department coaching staff, we greatly appreciate the open communication on where we stood with potentially competing in our athletic seasons. As many of us have learned in meeting with other coaches about competing in our seasons, there was a complete lack of communication at many of the campuses with regard to where their district and administration stood on the potential of competing during these times. Antelope Valley College has always been a great place to work, yet now we have an even better appreciation for the vision of working at a place that was willing to take a wait and see approach to competing versus taking the easy decision of opting out of the season. We thank all those that played a role in that leadership decision to put a plan in place that would allow us to compete if the conditions allowed competition. Our student athletes learn life lessons in their sports constantly. During these times, they also have learned life lessons on leadership, the decision-making, and to never fear the fight that comes with those decisions. Thank you to our Dean and Athletic Director, Tom Gang, and his athletic staff for putting together a return to safe play plan for the athletic department. Thank you to the nursing department, the nursing students that have assisted during our COVID-19 testing. Thank you to those in the maintenance staff and those that have assisted in our weekly protocols as well. Excuse me. Thank you to those in maintenance. These challenging times prove that when we work together, anything is possible, and the reward to have our season has been a privilege that our student athletes greatly appreciate. Respectfully, Cindy Vargas, Perry Gilleka, John Taylor, Barry Green, Charles Gordon, Mark Cruz, John Livermont, Justin Webb, Anthony Vini, Brad Hazard, Patrick Londano, Russell Gordon, Daniel Harris, Tim Rasmussen, Yosenia Perez, and Byron Devers. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach, and thank you to your coaches, your staff, and your players for the first undefeated football season we've had in about 70 years. I don't care if it was 2 games, you would have done all 11 if you'd had 11 games. Okay, thank you. Item 11, presentation of the 2019-2020 district measure AB and OPEB audit reports.
Hello, my name is Ben Levitt. I'm here from the district's audit firm CWDL to speak to the results of the audit for the 1920 fiscal year. I've got a presentation document that's going to be loaded up that's going to provide a high-level look at the audit procedures and the results of the audits. Before I dive into that, I just wanted to preface by saying it was quite an exceptional year. COVID had a tremendous amount of impact in every aspect, of district and governmental and operations throughout the country. In our very small corner of the world, in the audit realm, it was the first ever year we've conducted an audit entirely remotely. And I just want to emphasize the amount of additional burden that placed upon district staff. Sarah Miller and her team handed that additional burden extremely graciously. They were able to get us all the documentation that we needed, both in our interim and our year-end fieldwork visits remotely and in a timely manner to enable us to ultimately report on all of the financial results by the extended deadline, and bring those results to you in a timely manner today. So I want to extend our appreciation to district management for working with us in a very challenging year. And with that, I'll dive right in. So the audit summary is going to give perspective on the audits that occurred during 1920. So just starting out, when we look to page 3 of this document, we get a little bit of detail over some of the procedures that came into place. So at both interim and year end, we're looking at internal controls over fiscal, internal controls over state and federal programs, as well as state and federal compliance testing as required by the Chancellor's Office Contracted District Audit Manual and the federal single audit guidance that's put out by the OMB. And so going on to page 4 of 9, ultimately, all of the reports have an independent auditor's report, which is speaking to the substantive balances. They also have what's called the Yellow Book report, which is speaking to financial controls and controls over compliance for governmental entities. So they'll all cover these procedures outlined on page 4 under audit results. And then in addition, the district report is also going to have a federal and a state compliance opinion. And the bond audits are going to have a performance report, which goes above and beyond the standard audit by requiring us to opine on whether or not the expenditures of the bond in the current year were in line with ballot language, which is a special test required by Proposition 39 guidance. And so what we can see on page 5 of this document is that happily there are no prior comments to speak to or provide a status update on. There were no exceptions noted in the 18-19 fiscal year. And so then going into on page 6 of this document, the results of the 1920 audits, we have them all enumerated right here. For the district report, essentially, there were 4 components to that report. The independent auditor's report at the beginning of that document opined on the fairness of the presentation of the overall district financials. And we're pleased to note that for the 1920 year, similar as the 1819 year, we're able to provide an unmodified opinion based upon the results of our procedures over the district audit, which is to say the highest quality opinion that an auditor can render, and effectively indicates that based on our procedures, the district audit report and all the information contained in that document can be relied upon by the district's board, the district, and all of its stakeholders. The next 3 reports in the district audit consist of the Yellow Book opinion and the federal and state compliance opinions. So the Yellow Book opinion speaks to the district's internal controls and controls over compliance. And here we note one exception under the district audit noted as exception 2020-01 that pertains to capital assets. I'll speak to that in a little bit more detail in just a moment. But with that one exception noted as a material weakness, we note no other exceptions in the 1920 year to the district's control environment with respect to the Yellow Book opinion. With regard to federal compliance, I'm very happy to report that for 1920 for the district audit, we note no exceptions to federal compliance for 1920. So an entirely clean opinion over federal compliance for 1920. And then for our state compliance opinion, for those procedures as required by the state chancellor's office, we do note one exception pertaining to the student-centered funding formula, which I'll speak to in just a moment. That was the loan exception pertaining to state compliance. And with that exception, there were no other comments noted as either significant deficiencies or material weaknesses pertaining to the district audit. So just two exceptions noted in the 19-20 year for the district audit. Now, before I get into those exceptions, I'm just going to speak to the results of the bond audit and then the results of the OPEB trust audit. And so the bond audit has three components where we opine on the fairness of the presentation of just the bond financials. That document is going to be limited to just the bond building fund. And in that independent auditor's report over the bond, are pleased to report an unmodified opinion based upon the results of our procedures for the 19-20 year, which is again to say the highest quality opinion that an auditor can render, and represents that based on our procedures for this year, the bond financials for Measure AV can absolutely be relied upon by the district's board, the district, the Measure AV Citizens Oversight Committee, and all of the Measure AV stakeholders. The next two components of Measure AV consist of the Yellow Book opinion over Measure AV for internal controls and controls over compliance, and then finally the performance report. With respect to Measure AV's Yellow Book opinion, we similarly note an unmodified opinion. We note no exceptions to the control environment over Measure AV for the 19-20 year. So a clean opinion over Measure AV. And then finally for performance, performance is a unique procedure required for all Proposition 39 bond audits in the state of California, where the auditor needs to look with a very singular focus at whether any exceptions under that funding source, under those restricted general obligation funds issued against the authorization from the Measure AV election, are being spent outside of the ballot language that was put before voters. And irrespective of materiality, if any exceptions are noted, they are required to be brought in the performance audit to the attention of the board and the oversight committee. For the 19-20 fiscal year, pleased to report that we note no such exceptions to performance for the Measure AV bond audit. And so an entirely clean report over the Measure AV bond. And then finally, going on to the last of the audits, the district's OPEB trust audit. There's two components to that. An independent auditor's report that opines on the fairness of the presentation of the OPEB trust financials, and then a Yellow Book opinion where we speak to our testing over internal controls and controls over compliance. For our independent auditor's report, we provide an unmodified opinion over the OPEB trust financials, the highest quality opinion that we are able to provide based on the results of our procedures over those financials. And based on that, our opinion states that the OPEB trust financials can be relied upon by the board, the district, and all of the trust stakeholders. And then finally, the Yellow Book opinion over the OPEB trust results in our opinion on the internal controls and controls over compliance over the trust for the 19-20 year. We note no exceptions to the controls over the OPEB trust for the 19-20 year. So an entirely clean report over the OPEB trust of the district for 19-20. And so with that now, I want to go to the only exceptions noted for 19-20, which pertain to the district audit, and which we will see on the very next page of this document, starting on page 7. So when we go to page 7, under the reportable current year audit findings, we see those two comments, 2020-001 capital assets noted as a material weakness, 2020-002 state compliance, a student-centered funding formula, noted as a significant deficiency. And I'll start with the material weakness over capital assets. Essentially, what we're required to look at for capital assets, which are reported on the government-wide basis through the conversion from the fund financials to the government-wide financials, is that we're able to drill down from those reported balances to the granular detail. And what we noted in the current year was that there were some gaps pertaining to the detail asset schedule and not being able to match that schedule to those reported balances. And so ultimately, in speaking with district management, we encourage the district to reach out and identify what these differences are and address them, either by accounting for the assets that are not being included or by revaluing the assets based on a more current updated valuation, and then essentially restating those balances to be able to match and report accurately that those identified asset balances across the district's capital asset categories. And the district has responded to our comment and our recommendation by taking pretty quick action. The Fiscal Services Department, working with facilities and being spearheaded by Mrs. Miller, is working toward hiring a company to perform evaluation. And I believe that Mrs. Miller is going to speak to that in additional detail to address exactly how the district is proceeding to ultimately resolve and correct this exception noted over capital assets. And the second of the two comments noted in the 1920 year pertains to state compliance. One of the procedures identified in the 1920 Contracted District Audit Manual requires all external auditors to look at apportionment, an FTES apportionment, and drill down by census type. So looking at daily, looking at weekly, looking at actual hours of attendance and so on, and ultimately drill down into the detail to ensure that what's being reported vouches down to the support. And what we noted was a very minor exception pertaining to a small handful of actual hours or positive attendance classes, where there was a difference that was so minor, it was under a single 525-hour FTES. And as a result, we are required to note no question costs associated with this comment. Nonetheless, since compliance is a black and white item, we are required to bring it to the board's attention that there was this minor exception noted in the positive attendance classes when we look to those teacher maintained rosters of the actual hours being participated in by students. We brought this again to the attention of district management, and in our estimation, management has taken very reasonable action to look at this and identify a corrective action plan. And I believe that management will be speaking to that corrective action plan just after I finish speaking to the results of the audit. So you'll get additional detail on their proposed response. For both responses that we've reviewed with management, for both findings 2020-001 as well as 002, we believe that upon implementation, those corrective action plans should effectively eliminate those comments going into the 2021 fiscal year. But of course, we will keep a close eye on that as we proceed into our interim fieldwork for 2021. And as always, our subsequent report, our fiscal year 21 report, will identify these prior comments and provide follow-up on the status in the subsequent year. And so moving past those exceptions and going just real briefly to accounting and audit developments, which are noted on page 8 of this 9-page document, we note that there are two upcoming GASBs, one GASB 84 covering fiduciary activities, which is going to require implementation at June 30, 2021. And so we will be working with the district. We've already developed a crosswalk that we'll be providing to the district and assisting them with to identify any fiduciary activities that are going to be roped into and included going forward for this year and going forward in governmental activities. And based on the guidance provided by the state, it's appearing like the student funds, as well as some other potential fiduciary activities, which have always been classed separately in the past, are now going to be rolled into governmental going forward. And so we'll be working with district management in that implementation for the current year. GASB 87 over leases is going to require implementation in the 21-22 fiscal year. That's essentially going to be a reclassification of operating leases, which had never before required capitalization, requiring those leases to, for the first time ever, be capitalized alongside capital leases and the other capital assets of the district. So it's essentially going to take an analysis of all of those outstanding operating leases, and a determination and an entry to bring those in from this change in accounting principle coming in next year to bring them on to the district's books as an asset. And so we will be assisting the district with that. We have complete confidence the district will be in full implementation of both of these required GASBs by the respective fiscal year ends. And so with that, on page 9 of 9 of this document, we thank the district and the district's board for the opportunity to serve the district as your external auditor. I know that was at a very high level, and so I want to take a pause to open for any questions any member of the board may have on any of our procedures as performed for the 1920 year, or any aspect of the reports as issued for 1920.
Any questions or comments from the board? Nope, great job.
My pleasure.
Is that the conclusion of the report?
Yes, sir. That is my presentation. I do believe that district management would like to speak to the corrective action plans for both exceptions, but that is the entire results of the audit that our firm wished to bring to the board's attention.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Miller, and I'm your Chief Business Official, and I was just going to go over the corrective action plan. This document here that has been pulled up shows our two findings. The first one I'm going to go over, and the second one Dr. Vines will go over. So the first one was talked about by Ben, and by the way, Ben, thank you so much for all your hard work. I meant to say that at the beginning. It's really a pleasure working with you guys. So the first finding has to do with the fact that we weren't able to provide a detailed listing of our capital assets for the auditors. And so what we said we would do is confirm the value of those assets and be able to provide a listing of those assets by September. Our action plan is that we engaged a firm that does our inventory called Assetworks. They're going to value our buildings for us. And they're actually, the contract has been signed and the vendor will be on site this week. And then secondly, we are currently analyzing our equipment versus the financial records versus the asset system that we currently have, which is Asset Max. So that target completion is also September. So at this time, I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Vines to discuss finding number 2.
Test. There we go. Good evening, President Adams, trustees. Nice to see the new trustees that I haven't had a chance to meet yet. Welcome. And thank you, Ben, for minimizing the finding. Should I take this off or is it okay? Or can I not?
Okay.
Okay. The recommendation was to implement procedures to ensure that the hours of input by staff in the 320 report systems are properly entered and converted accurately based on the clock hours reported by instructors. And initially, these are classes like nursing and clinical respiratory care, preseason sports conditioning, ESL classes like that. Although it was a very small amount, we still have to be accurate. It's important that we're accurate, especially if we build these programs and other programs that have positive attendance. Initially, we looked in to see what it was that we could do in-house and working with IT, academic affairs, and we realized that it might be necessary to, or it is necessary, more efficient to outsource the work. And so enrollment services, ITS, academic affairs will, or have developed the specifications for self-serve banner positive attendance system to track and accumulate positive attendance hours that faculty document registered students. Accumulated hours will be entered in banner by admissions and records. So we're in the process of locating that vendor. The last meeting was Friday to talk about the specs. And so hopefully here in the very near future, we'll be going out and getting a vendor to get the scope. Once we have the scope of work and the cost estimate, we're going to present it to President Knudsen, and then hopefully he'll approve it for board approval. So any questions?
Questions or comments from the board? No, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe that concludes the presentation on the district measure AV and OPEB audit reports. And we'll move on to item number 12, report of closed session action. On a motion by Mr. Buffalo, seconded by Ms. Harvey, and with a 5-0 vote, the board very reluctantly accepted the president's letter of intent to retire. I will read you the letter of intent to retire. This is to inform the board of my retirement plans and request the board's approval for those plans as they impact the current in-force contract for my fixed term employment contract. It is my intention to retire effective June 30th, 2022, after 9 years of service as superintendent president of Antelope Valley Community College District and Antelope Valley College. My current contract is in force through June 30th, 2023, and with the approval of the retirement date of June 30th, 2022, there is the caveat that if the board fails to secure the services of a suitable successor or other compelling exigent circumstances exist, I will remain through the end of the current contract, June 30th, 2023. Further, it is requested that such circumstances exist to compel extension of the retirement plans to June 2023, that a 90-day notice be given. The district and college have made significant progress and development since 2013, and it has been my distinct honor to serve as your superintendent president during this time. Yours in service, Mr. Ed Knudsen. Would you like to make a comment?
There comes a time when everybody needs to make plans for the next stage of their journey of life. And that's what my wife and I have done. It has been beyond my honor and privilege to have served as president of this institution. What I encourage is that as a group, people find a way to come together to share goals and outcomes and work towards those goals and outcomes as they play out within the college mission. Antelope Valley College is now nationally recognized for a whole host of things. And there's going to be $300 million worth of brand new state-of-the-art facilities on this campus over the next few years. Take advantage of that position and take advantage of the opportunities this board has presented. Now, those of you who know me, I put my foot on the gas the day I got here, and I'm not taking my foot off until I leave. But it has been my distinct privilege and my honor, and God bless you all. Thank you for your understanding.
Moving on to the consent agenda, may I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So move.
Second. Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes with 5 yes votes, and I believe our vice presidents of academic affairs and student services would like to introduce our tenured faculty.
Members of the board, it's an honor and a pleasure to finally meet you. My name is Isabel Saber, President Knudsen and Samuel. It's really good to see you. It's my honor to present 12 faculty members who are advancing for tenure this evening on the instructional side of the house and are being recommended to you. So we're going to have a picture of each one of them as I read a very short bio for our faculty members. This is a very distinctive group in the sense that they are very diverse, but they also represent the community. 4 of them are AVC alumni, and 2 of them are already department chairs. So we have great leaders and members who have grown up in this community and attended AVC as students who are now in positions of leadership. So the first member is Mr. Maurice Boyd. I don't know if they have their picture. So Mr. Maurice Boyd has been a deaf professor at AVC since 2014 and is the 2017 winner of the Adjunct of the Year Award. He's a former AVC student, has a degree in deaf studies, and over 10 years of experience in mentoring and educating students wishing to become a sign language interpreter. He has served the community at Valley Bible Church as a youth leader in deaf ministry for over 17 years and for 16 years as a youth ministry softball coach. In his time at AVC, the Deaf Studies Interpreting Program has been ranked #2 in California. Maurice wants to pass on to the community the education that was once given to him. And there are a few words from his dean, Dwayne Rumsey, who's actually here this evening. Maurice inspires his students to become the best sign language students that they can be. He sets high standards and expectations for students and wants them to learn to interact effectively with the deaf community. Maurice serves as an example of collaboration and how students and the deaf community working together can accomplish great things. The next faculty member being recommended for tenure is Dr. Karina Giorgi. She's a department chair. She currently serves as the chair of social and behavioral sciences and is as a faculty member in the sociology department. They received a BA in sociology from UC Riverside while cross-registered at UCLA, has an MA degree in gender, sexuality, and culture, and a PhD in sociology from the University of Manchester in the United Kingdom under the supervision of feminist labor rights historian Sheila Rowbotham. Giorgi worked as a researcher for the local British government while conducting fieldwork internationally by tracking migratory patterns of Armenian female transnational laborers. Their areas of publication and research interests include gender and queer theory, critical race and ethnic studies, labor and migration studies, genocide studies, post-colonial theory, diaspora studies, and transnational feminism. The third person being recommended is Dr. Gary Keaton Smith, who's a music instructor at AVC and lecturer at UC Irvine. He teaches a variety of band and music classes at AVC, founded the AVC Marching Percussion and Ensemble, advises the AVC Percussion Association, and serves on several college committees. Gary has a BA in music performance, a BS in geology, and an MA in music performance, all from Fresno State, and a DMA in music from UCLA. He has performed as a percussionist with a number of artists, including the LA Philharmonic and Paul Stamen, is a published composer, and has performed and conducted extensively throughout the United States and Europe. When not indulging in music, he's an avid runner, hiker, cyclist, yogi, meditator, reader, and foodie, and enjoys spending time with his wife and Boston Terrier. A few words from his dean, Mr. Dwayne Rumsey. Dr. Keaton Smith brings honor to the music department at AVC. It has been an important bridge for the music and commercial music programs, where he serves as both the commercial music coordinator and the applied music coordinator. Dr. Keaton Smith is the source and soul of the percussion program, where the concerts in the performing arts theater surprise and entertain, and the drum corps inspires at various events on campus and in the community. Our next candidate is Dr. Dia Lobos, who's a proud graduate of Antelope Valley College with both an Associate of Arts in Letters, Arts and Sciences, and an Associate of Science in Natural Sciences. He graduated from California State University, Northridge, with a Bachelor's of Science and Master of Science in Biology, and a concentration in microbiology, and from the University of Southern California with a Doctor of Education in Higher Education Administration. Dr. Lobos has taught at AVC since 2005, most years as an adjunct, currently teaches general microbiology and cell and molecular biology, and serves on the Academic Senate as a division representative and as a legislative liaison. He's married to a very loving and understanding wife and is the proud father of 3 very rambunctious and handsome boys. Our next candidate is Mr. Cole McCandless, who is a proud alumnus of Antelope Valley College once again, having earned 4 Associate of Arts degrees and graduating summa cum laude for all 4. He completed both a Bachelor's of Arts in Deaf Studies and a Master of Arts in Humanities with distinction at CSUN, and is currently enrolled in their Educational Leadership and Policy Studies doctoral program, which he hopes to complete this summer. Cole credits his passion for American Sign Language, his dedication to partnership with the deaf community, and his commitment to social justice to his deaf twin brother, Caleb. In addition to being an instructor, Cole is a nationally certified sign language interpreter and provides interpreting services on campus. In his spare time, he volunteers at Apex Protection Project, a wolf and wolf dog sanctuary, and is dedicated to protecting wolves in the wild and to educating people on the importance of these animals to our ecosystem. As an alumnus and faculty member, Cole is committed to ensuring that all AVC students have access to an enriching and transformative education by cultivating an atmosphere of collective community engagement, accountability, social responsibility, academic excellence, justice, and lifelong learning. Cole is also a department chair on campus. Our next candidate is Dr. Peter McLoughlin, who immigrated to California from Ireland just before his 13th birthday. His hobbies include playing and writing Irish music. After high school, he spent 3 years at community college and then transferred to Cal State San Bernardino, where he met his wife in graduate school and received his PhD in mathematics from UC Riverside in 2008. Peter has a passion for teaching college-level mathematics and loves teaching and mentoring students at AVC. To date, 21 students have completed honors options with him, and he has written nearly the same number of recommendation letters for students. Dr. McLoughlin would like to thank Dr. Leslie Uhazy and the rest of the hiring committee who gave him the opportunity to work at AVC 4 years ago, as well as his tenure committee for all their help and support over the years. He looks forward to working at AVC for many years to come. Next is Alex Nikolaj, who was born in Ukraine and considers himself an international scholar. Prior to his immigration to the United States, he studied toward a Bachelor's of Science in Math at Odessa University in Ukraine, completed that degree from Portland State University in 1994, and later a Master of Science in Math in 1996. He has taught mathematics to the diverse student populations of community colleges, as well as both public and private universities. This includes California and Hawaii, first-generation college students on various Pacific islands, and to Peruvian elites at the private university in Lima. Alex has taught all college mathematics courses, from basic skills to university transfer level mathematics for STEM majors, weekend and short semester classes, workshops, and has overseen a developmental math program and tutoring center. All of his students have been eager to learn and have appreciated his teaching. Our next candidate is Ms. Kimberly Sennett, who teaches electrical technology in the Career Technical Education Division at AVC. She was born in the Antelope Valley and was guided by our local resources, having graduated from both the high school and Antelope Valley College. She's living life forward by giving back to the community. A few words from her dean, Dr. Maria Clinton. Thank you for loving your job so much. You have always gone above and beyond the expectations of a great professor. Next is Mr. Paul Stamen. Raised in Utah, Paul earned both a Bachelor's of Science and a Master of Science in Geography from Brigham Young University and has taught at colleges in Idaho, Illinois, and California. He is currently an instructor of geography, physical, and earth sciences here at AVC. Paul has visited 49 of the 62 national parks, enjoys fly fishing and camping, and he and his wife Emily have 5 children. Next is Dr. Ariel Tombaga. Dr. Ariel Tombaga began his higher education at Grossmont Community College in San Diego County. He graduated from the University of California, San Diego with a Bachelor of Arts in French and Spanish in 2002, and again in 2005 with a Master of Arts in Spanish Literature. He was subsequently accepted into UCLA, where he taught Spanish language and literature courses, as he earned a PhD in Hispanic languages and literature, which was awarded in September 2009, and for which he wrote his dissertation on the representation of indigenous people in Mexican and Chicanx literature. And last but certainly not least is Ms. Heidi Williams, who was born and raised in Lancaster, California, and was first hired as a full-time instructor at AVC in May of 2008, when a family emergency dictated a move to the South for 8 years. Heidi returned to California in 2016 and was hired at AVC a second time in May 2017. She holds a master's degree in English composition from Chico State and finds working at Antelope Valley College with her student a dream job. Heidi is also a department chair. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have the privilege of introducing some of our newly tenured counseling faculty. Deanrogenstein summed up his time at AVC. He'll be retiring in June, saying that these 3 were some of the best hires he ever hired here at AVC. The first is, there she is, Tisha Klein. She has a passion for helping students meet their academic goals in and out of the classroom and develop their academic plans according to their educational goals. Tisha is in her 5th year as a doctoral student at Grand Canyon University, majoring in psychology with an emphasis on performance. Tisha's research focuses on career readiness among freshman community college athletes with strong athletic identities and understanding their experiences as they transition from sports to the workforce. And next we should have, Tanya McGinnis. After 10 years as an academic advisor at Cal State Northridge, in 2014, Tanya was hired at AVC as an education advisor. In 2016, she was hired as an adjunct counselor. Tanya worked in various populations as a counselor at AVC, including honors, pride, which is academic probation, transfer, veterans, international, and ESL. As a club advisor, she helped launch the Hola Heritage of Latin America, which is a club, served on the Transfer Articulation and Student Services Committee, and is serving on the Academic Senate for California Community Colleges. She assisted with the implementation of tests, a database to house all articulated transfer courses for AVC counseling. Ms. McGinnis currently works as a counselor in the Transfer Center, a member of the AVC CARE Suicide Prevention Team, Summer Planning Committee, Dream Center Committee, and EduNav Core Team. Beginning this fall, she'll serve as a counselor for the newly established Puente program, and she's a member of, or will be a member of the Academic Senate. Next, we have Tawanna Catley, started at ABC as an educational advisor also, and she started at the Palmdale Center. She brought to the position her experience teaching Japanese abroad. And she also has experience in social work, specifically with foster care, mental health, children and families. Tawanna's passion for equity and community building and student success roots from her undergrad at UCLA. She identifies herself as a proud first-generation college graduate raised from a single parent, immigrant household, and is active in her work with AVC's Yamoja, Student Equity, Honors, Law Scholars, the AVC Care Suicide Prevention Intervention Program, and the Academic Pride Program, which supports students who are on academic probation. Those are our counselors who have received tenure. Thank you.
Congratulations to all the tenured faculty and counselors. Okay, moving on to action items, item 14.1. May I hear a motion to approve resolution number 20-21/7 declaring commitment to diversity?
So move.
Public comment, comment, Mr. President.
Let's get a second first, and then we'll do.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Buffalo. And comments.
Okay, I have a statement I'd like to read. During the past few months, I participated in many webinars presented by the California Community College League. They've been helpful in educating a new trustee in the issues facing the community college system in California. Time and time again, the issue of diversity has arisen. Guided pathways seem to be pushed to the back burner. Instead, we are led to believe that our community college system is racist and biased. We are told that students will function better if their instructors and their staff look like them. So we must disregard any instance of standards and automatically choose a person because of their ethnic background, because we want to be diverse. Well, we must hire people because they sound well, meet our personal criteria. According to the Foundation of Community College, 53% of our students are female. Over 40% of our students are 25 or older. 70% of our students are of diverse backgrounds. 51% of grads from the California State University system were transfers from community college. 29%, 30% of the grads from the University of California systems were community college transfers. I believe we should emphasize guided pathways. We are constantly improving our college system, which is the largest in the country. There are bills in the legislature right now to give more financial aid and address student housing. As for staffing, I favor a civil service system for staffing. I believe it would give those who are qualified a chance rather than those who are selected at the pleasure of the administration and committees. First, you pass the civil service test, and then you are vetted by the administration and the various committees. Fair enough and fair for all. As the population becomes more diverse, the administration and the staff will change too. Most people hired are local. Time will change the composition of the staffs. Finally, do I believe the Chancellor's Office and the California Community College League will focus on the wrong agenda? You bet. For most students, community college is the last and best hope to achieve success and have a better life. Let's focus mainly on helping them succeed and strive through guided pathways. I'm voting no on this resolution. It includes nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments?
Yes. I would just like to say that I believe it is important as a community college to be very deliberate in our stance on discrimination and being deliberately anti-racist. I do not think we do the college or the students, staff, faculty any service when we reduce that to hiring on the basis of skin color. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments? Advice.
Yes, I agree that I don't think that hiring on the basis of skin color is correct at all. I understand the basis that we want diversity, but it's the same type of I don't want to use the word discrimination, but like in college admissions, it's the same thing of they might want to meet a 20% status quo of XYZ race. So if that's what we're doing here, then I would also have to vote no.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed?
No,
Is that 4-1? Oh, thank you. 14.2, approval of March 21st, 2021 memorandum of understanding between Antelope Valley College Federation of Classified Employees and Antelope Valley College Community College District regarding back to work terms and guidelines. May I hear a motion?
So move.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion. Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.3, approval of consultant services agreement with Atkinson and Anderson, Loya, Rudd, and Romo for services working with human resources. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.4, approval of the 2019-2020 district audit, major AV financial statements, major AV performance audit, and OPEB trust audit reports. May I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.5, approval of corrective action plan to address 2019-2020 audit findings. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.6, approval of academic policies and procedures, committees, recommendations of course listing. May I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.7, approval of the 2020-2021 revised football schedule. May I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.8, approval of the 2020-2021 athletic spring sports schedules for men's and women's sports. May I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.9, approval to increase tests ordered to complete COVID testing for student athletes and others as required by the California Community College Athletic Association. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.10, approval to award agreement for beverage services. May I hear a motion?
So move. Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.11, approval to award agreement for website redesign services. May I hear a motion?
So move. Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those, thank you. That passes with 5 yes votes. 14.12, approval to extend the use of the cooperative agreement through California Multiple Award Schedule with Dell Marketing LP through November 19th, 2025. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.13, approval to utilize the Foundation for California Community Colleges Master Agreement number 0003328 with NG Web Solutions LLC, DBA Next Gen Web Solutions through March 31st, 2023. May I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.14, approval to ratify the purchase of security camera equipment and software licenses from Black Box Network Services with major AV funds. May I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.15, Approval to ratify the purchase of audiovisual equipment through the use of the Golden Star Technology Incorporated piggyback agreement through the Los Angeles Community College District for Marauder Complex with major AV funds. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.16, approval to purchase Bitdefender software suite for antivirus and malware from NE Systems Incorporated. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.17, approval of membership agreement with Community College League of California Library Consortium. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.18, approval to utilize Air Gas Incorporated, DBA Air Gas USA LLC, piggyback agreement through Educational and Institutional Cooperation Services Incorporated for a one-time purchase. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.19, approval of lease agreement with WEPA for student print stations. May I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.20, approval of amendment number 1 to contract with Assetworks LLC for asset inventory and reporting services. May I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.21, approval to use the Sierra School Equipment Company Cooperative Agreement through the Arvin Union School District through November 12th, 2021 with CARES funds. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.22, approval of replacement coverage with 20-year term with Southern California Edison. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.23, approval of notice of completion and resolution of acceptance on the infrastructure project 17-029 McWhirter Steel Incorporated with major AV funds. May I hear a motion?
So move. Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.24, approval of notice of completion and resolution of acceptance on the security building project 17-040 Triangle Enterprises Incorporated with major AV funds. May I hear a motion?
So move. Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.25, approval of notice of completion and resolution of acceptance on the Palmdale Technology Center project 18-012 with major AV funds. May I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.26, approval of change order for Swing Space 1 17-030 with major AV funds. May I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Yes.
I would like to discuss this. Can we have a representative staff report? Anybody in there? Mr. President?
Do you have a specific question?
Yeah, I do. It's an increase of $68,569.92. Would like explanation why we need to spend $70,000.
Bless you.
The increase was caused by the fact that that building is a laundry room with the weight of the equipment. When it went to DSA, they changed the flooring from a wood flooring to a concrete floor. That increased the cost of the building $73,000. We negotiated it down to $68,000. And so that's why it got increased. We wouldn't, structurally wouldn't handle the weight of the equipment going in the laundry room.
Any other questions?
Mr. President,
Go ahead.
but I have a request on behalf of staff. Given the circumstances and the way we have to meet right now, if we could get the questions in advance so I can have the proper staff here, because we can't fill the room in anticipation. So if Ron kindly came this evening, but I would not have been able to answer the way he did. And so if we had some advance warning, then I can make sure the appropriate staff is here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.27, approval of change order for Sage Hall 17-031 with major AV funds. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Yes?
this is $412,275 being returned. They did not spend the money and they're returning it to AV bond. Is that what's going on?
The $412,000 credit was because we removed the landscaping from the contract. We are doing that in-house, just like we are doing on all the projects. So that's what it, and it does go back into the Measure AV, and we will utilize it for other buildings. So it goes back into that amount.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.28, approval of change order for signage and wayfinding project 17-038 with major AV funds. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.29, approval of change orders for Discovery Lab project 17-039 with major AV funds. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.30, approval of change orders for the campus security project 17-040 with major AV funds. May I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.31, approval of change order for Palmdale Center Technology Facility Phase 2, 18-012 with strong workforce funds. May I hear a motion?
So second.
Thank you. Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.32, approval of project assignment amendment for consultant services, labor compliance services, multiple projects, Golden Stater labor compliance. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.33, approval of project assignment amendment to Converse Consultants Incorporated for project laboratory or record services security, Sage Hall project 17-031 with major AV funds. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.34, approval of project assignment amendment number 1 to Vital Inspection Services Incorporated, Sage Hall project 17-031 with major AV funds. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.35, approval of project assignment amendment to Converse Consultants Incorporated for project laboratory or record services security, Discovery Lab project 17-039 with major AV funds. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.36, approval of project assignment amendment to Converse Consultants Incorporated for project laboratory or record services security, Marauder Complex Project 17-041 with major AV funds. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second. Discussion? Advice?
Approved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 15, informational items. Please review your packets for the informational items listed. The 2020-2021 diversity events, Antelope Valley College Facility Services Monthly Report, the updated design consultants for architectural firms under contract with HMC Architects, and the updated design consultants for architectural firms under contract with Kruger Benson Zimmer Architects Incorporated. 16, reports and announcements, Academic Senate, Mr. Ryder.
I don't have to bend down like Dr. Vines. I like this. This is great. It's so wonderful to see all of you, to see all of you in person. The last year, I've seen little boxes. We've been in lots of meetings and we've seen boxes of individuals, and it's so wonderful to see you in person. So members of the board, good evening. I'm President Knudsen. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. I have 4 quick items, as it were, as part of my report. Number 1, I want to recognize the efforts and the accomplishments of the tenured and the tenure-track faculty who are listed in part of the consent agenda, item 13.3. Vice President Isabel Saber did a wonderful job in highlighting the stories of these faculty members. It's wonderful to have those stories because we start to see people as people. We don't see them as just names on a paper or names on a department list or a course schedule, perhaps, for students. We see them as people. We see them as part of our community, and we celebrate those moments. The Senate congratulates each individual and expresses gratitude for their dedication to learning, student success, and discipline expertise. A special word of congratulations to all of our faculty members recommended to receive tenure and have done so tonight. Thank you to the students, to the faculty members who supported these faculty members in tenure, to the tenure committee chairs, to the faculty on those committees, to their deans. Special thanks to, again, Isabel Saber, who stepped into tenure right as she joined our campus. I'm not sure she knew what she was stepping into, but she did a wonderful job in helping us to complete this process. So we congratulate them. We thank all of those faculty members for their contributions again. Number 2, we congratulate 2 outstanding faculty members this year. This year, the Academic Senate is pleased to announce and celebrate the 21-22 Scholar in Residence, Dr. Jason Bowe, and the 21-22 Outstanding Adjunct of the Year, Gabrielle Porman. I also express my gratitude to the President, Ed Knudsen, for his continuing support of these awards and selections throughout the many years that he's been here. And thank you to the board for the support. These faculty members illustrate the good and the academic excellence in all of our faculty. Number 3, in relation to agenda item 14.2, declaring commitment to diversity, and information item 15.1, the diversity events. I urge the board to continue to direct and support the district's efforts to integrate and advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion by reviewing, revising if necessary, adopting and implementing board policies, equity plans, hiring practices, professional development, and other initiatives that would create an environment for productive dialogue about cultural competency and implicit bias, and lead to a more inclusive work environment and classroom. 4, finally, I want to express public appreciation for the increased communication of information in regards to the ongoing work, planning, and progress of safety measures. I hope that this trend continues in earnest and that the information gathering, decision-making, and engagement of all campus shareholders continues and improves. There are many individuals, committees, task forces, individuals, and constituent groups working to the best of their ability. But to be effective and successful, we need to work together with a constructive solution-minded approach. We all have the same goal. Each of you have the same goal as I do, to serve our students most effectively in an optimal manner, and to do so thoughtfully. To do so, As we move forward, we must foster open and honest communication and allow for processes to be followed. We must expect better of ourselves and each other, and then work together professionally. And again, I use the word thoughtfully. I invite the Board of Trustees to encourage increased communication to, with, and between all members of the AVC community. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Academic or Antelope Valley College Federation of Teachers, Dr. Bird.
All right, can you guys hear me? All right, good evening, President Knudsen and members of the Board of Trustees. It's lovely to see you all in person for a change. This is very different. I'd like to start by thanking Debbie Clark-Hackenberg, Mary Crenshaw, and Lisa Diaz for overseeing the processing of the retro checks for the 2018-19 and part of the 2019-2020 academic years. We do understand these will be mailed at the end of this month, and so we thank them for their hard work on this. The Federation continues to urge the district to increase transparency related to COVID-19 and the return to campus. A survey of AVCFT members recently closed, and it shows that of faculty scheduled to work on campus this summer, only 35% feel comfortable being on campus. We are hopeful that COVID-19 case rates will be very low and the percentage of vaccinated Californians very high by the beginning of summer 2021. But as of today, the news is filled with reports about a reduced supply of Johnson & Johnson vaccines, even as eligibility extends to all Californians over age 16 in the next couple days. We continue to believe a return to campus is premature until vaccines are widely available, not just to faculty, but also to students, so that all campus stakeholders can return to face-to-face instruction and other campus contact with a reasonable assurance of safety from contracting COVID-19 or bringing it home to their loved ones. In the aforementioned survey of AVCFT members, less than 18% of faculty feel the administration has been seeking and using input from the campus community in decisions regarding reopening. An even smaller percentage of faculty, less than 16%, think the district has been transparent in its decision-making regarding the return to campus. We do appreciate recent steps taken by members of the administration to increase transparency on campus, including the town hall held by VP of Academic Affairs, Isabel Saber, and the new COVID-19 updates sent to the entire campus. These are a good start, but to build back the trust that has been lost over the last few years of this administration, that's evident in these fairly pessimistic survey results, we hope that these efforts will continue and hopefully expand. On a technical note, I would like to state that the district and the Federation have entered negotiations related to the effects of a return to campus for summer 2021. I believe that the teams have met twice so far. I am optimistic that the collaboration that led to the successful fall 2020 and spring 2021 MOUs will continue. On a happier note, we would like to congratulate the newly tenured faculty cited at tonight's meeting and last month's meeting, or actually it was all tonight's meeting. Over the last few years, these faculty have put in extraordinary efforts to reach students and help them achieve their goals. Some of these faculty have also had the difficult task of modernizing an entire discipline or reworking a major. Some have taken part in the expansion of classes and services at the new Palmdale Center and other locations. All have worked tirelessly on behalf of AVC students. I would also like to congratulate Dr. Jason Bowen on his recent selection as AVC Scholar in Residence and Gabby Poorman for her selection as AVC Outstanding Adjunct. Professor Bowen is an integral part of the AVCFT grievance response team, and Professor Poorman is the Federation's adjunct vice president. Professor Bowen's nomination letter cites his dedication to AVC's physics students, including his exceptional teaching skills and innovative teaching methods. Professor Poorman's cites the positive impact she has had on her students and her role in creating canvas shells for the Business Information Professional Program, among other things. Both of them are very much deserving of their respective honors. Thank you and see you next month.
Antelope Valley College Federation of Classified Employees, General Paul. Thank you. Confidential Management Supervisory Administrator Employees, Bill Carlson.
No report.
Thank you. Associated Student Organization, Cameron Zepeda.
Good evening, board. I would like to start off today by talking about the Student Senate for California Community Colleges General Delegate Assembly that happened last month. We had the pleasure of having 3 of our students attend. Of those 3 students, 2 of them are actually in this room. And I served as the delegate for Antelope Valley College. We voted on a number of resolutions ranging from anything from disabled student awareness, minimum qualifications for student body advisors, and the creation of national relief funds. Of the 26 resolutions that we voted on, 23 passed and the other 3 were either postponed or voted against. We voted in favor, we voted in the majority 20 times out of the 26 resolutions. We also attended a number of workshops ranging from parliamentary procedures, racism, importance of caucuses and networking, and working with faculty and joint governance committees, seeing them more as fellow individuals there rather than the scary teachers that they can sometimes look out to be. We listened to a number of moving speeches and got many updates on how the Senate is doing and what they're doing for our students over the last year. Specifically, some points of note was the DEI statement, or diversity, equity, and inclusion, that they are currently working on. They're also working on region issues such as elections, and they're working on various ways to increase student advocacy and make student advocacy easier for all student bodies in California. They also talked about the 12% decrease of student enrollments over the last year. On another note, ASO elections are on their way. Right now, we extended the deadline to April 15th to turn in a letter of intent to run for a position. And the last I heard, there are a number of very important decisions that have not been filled yet, or at least have an applicant not in there yet. So I'd like to encourage all students, please look into it. The more students that we have in our organization, the better we can be as a voice, and better we can change this campus to be what we want it to be. The elections will be held at the end of the month, and the new officers will hopefully be able to be in by May. Thank you.
Thank you. Antelope Valley College Foundation, Diane Knipple is not here tonight, but she did want me to mention that the foundation's assets have exceeded $9 million for the first time. And so that's a very wonderful thing, that the growth we've seen in the foundation and the ability to provide for our students. Officer Superintendent President, Mr. Knudsen.
Just very briefly, I want to remind everybody that commencement this year is Friday, May 7th at 7 p.m. It will be virtual. We got word too late to be able to respond to the new openings, allowing for small groups outside. And so it will remain virtual for this year. However, it is our strongest hope that we will be back in the stadium on Friday, May 6th, 2022 for commencement that year, which will be my 40th commencement, not my own.
Thank you. Board member comments, Mr. Chu.
Yes, and to add on to what Cameron said about the last SSCCC meeting, we also voted on adding more disabled student awareness, affordable low housing, free period product, and a movement towards menstrual equality, advocacy for ethnic studies, caucus menstrual sustainability, access and equity, gender studies, participation in shared governance, empowerment and hiring practices, leadership recognition in district governance, the addition of the A+ grade symbol, adding more civic engagement, creation of a natural relief fund, restoring funding and resources for impacted families of gun violence and police brutality, and last but certainly not least, my favorite, supporting mental health safety and not stigmas. We have done great work, and I just want to thank the board and everyone else for being here today.
Thank you. Ms. Harvey.
Yes, listening to Mr. Zapata's report, I just wanted to encourage students to be involved in the student organization. It is very meaningful, and it makes a difference in your future and the way that you look at civic obligation and your support of that. So I would just offer to students to please heed that advice. There are positions open. Please serve your campus and fellow students through applying for those. The second thing, if I could quickly make a comment, I would like to just acknowledge that in the year 2021, as a board, our baseline must be supportive diversity. And I am here for that all day, every day. We are stronger when we acknowledge the differences between us and learn to live and work together. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Reed.
Yes, I want to thank our president, Newsom, for his service to the college all these years. You know, before he came here, things were a little rough. He's done a fantastic job as president of the college. I really hate to see him go, and I'm happy we'll have him for another year and a half, I hope. And thank you, Mr. President, for your work.
Thank you. Ms. Gaines.
Let's see, I first, I absolutely get beyond thrilled when I hear about so many of our former alumni becoming tenured faculty members and tenured counselors. And there are a few of us sitting up here who are alumni of AVC, and first and foremost, very proud of that fact. I just want to say to the 15 newly tenured faculty and counselors at AVC that, first of all, I know they had a tremendous choice. They could have gone anywhere. And I just want to say thank you to them for selecting to return to our community and to help us build a stronger Antelope Valley, because I do believe Antelope Valley Community College is the backbone of our community. And we're doing many great things for in the workforce and also through our academic programs. So I just want to say thank you for serving, first and foremost, your home area. So that means a lot. It means an awful lot.
Thank you. Mr. Buffalo.
I've listened to a lot about safety and COVID and a variety of other things. And I know everybody keeps looking to the administration and the board to somehow solve all of this. However, I think the key is to get vaccinated, folks. And we certainly have enough vaccinations to do that, according to the county, according to the state of California. So that would tend to resolve any issues. And you might even get one of these little buttons like I have. I've been vaccinated. And it just seems to make a lot of sense moving forward. And I hope our faculty, and I know that I talked to 2 faculty just the other day out here on campus when I was walking, and both of them had got the Johnson & Johnson apparently down at the Palmdale Transportation Center. So there's a lot of vaccination sites. Lancaster and Kaiser are running a major one. Every pharmacy in town has them. You know, it's just simple to go forward and do this. And that helps resolve and removes the fear. And right now, I've gone to 3 movies. I'm going to Dodger Stadium on Thursday. It's a heck of a lot better than hiding out in your house. And so I know our students are getting really excited about returning in the fall. And I would hope we would continue to think of them and move in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you. And there's no reason to go back into closed session tonight. So our date of our next meeting is May 10th, 2021. We are adjourned. You have stuff for us to sign?